Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. We're back like we never left. How you doing, Kwaku?
I'm all good, man. All good. Just excited for the football season to start. It's not too far away. So fingers crossed we can just get through these next couple of weeks watching sports that no one really cares about. And football start around as quick as possible.
Yeah, as much as I want to feel pride and, for the Olympics, and I am, constantly astonished by how the achievements that these guys, achieve daily, and they work for years to try and achieve a gold medal. For me, it doesn't beat football on a Saturday afternoon, and I can't wait for August 13th. But in the meantime, there are some big transfer news coming out daily at the moment. The biggest news yesterday was that West Ham probably signed Areola. I think that's a great signing. I don't know if you know, or if anyone that didn't see him last year, I think he was a shining light for Fulham last year in a side that really struggled, but he performed very well. So he's going to provide some competition for Fabianski, which is really important. We've got him on an obligation to buy. So no, an option to buy, I believe, which is really important because Fabianski's got 1 year left on his deal and he's not getting any younger. So I think the competition could be good for us, especially when Fabianski hasn't really got any top level competition. So I think that's great for West Ham. And there was another big transfer story before we move on to the huge one. And that was West Ham being linked with a double swoop for some Chelsea boys that you might know a little bit about, Kwaku. Kurt Zouma and Tammy Abraham. What do you think the likelihood of this deal happening is?
I feel like they'll both be great signings for West Ham. Tammy Abraham, especially because you are looking for a striker. I think Mikel Antonio is the only reckon. We've got other strikers in the squad, other forwards in the squad, but Mikel Antonio is the only striker who played there the majority of last season. And in terms of Kurt Zouma, again, there'll be another great signing. Kurt Zouma has served us greatly. He won the Champions League with us. He won the league title with us. He's kind of won it all with Chelsea, and it's kind of come to the end of his cycle at the club. I know Chelsea looking at other options, and there was talks about Zouma being included in the deal for Koundé at Sevilla. So if West Ham want to pull off the coup for any of them, there'll be great signs for West Ham. I just think some of the blocks for both might just be the wages, because we know that Chelsea pay extortionate wages for the players that they've got for good reason. We are one of the richest clubs in the country, and West Ham have got, I wouldn't say they've necessarily got a model, but to bring in players on such high wages, you're then going to have to up the wages of some of your more established players at the club already. So it'd be great. It would be great for you to sign both of them. I do think it'll be a struggle, but with West Ham being in Europe and I'll be able to offer these players Europa League football, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be going for players of that ilk to strengthen or to build upon what you did last season. So yeah, that'd be great signings. I just think you're going to struggle to get the deals done. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, for sure. I mean, the transfer fee that was being muted was 20 million. And I think in a market where Ben White's potentially going to Arsenal for 50 million, I think to potentially get Kurt Zouma in, an established Premier League defender who I think performed really well for you. I know we spoke a little bit off camera and you said he tailed off near the end of the season, but for an established Premier League defender who's played for multiple years, for Stoke, Everton and Chelsea, to get him for £20 million and he's still relatively young, I think that would be a great move. Again, whether that valuation is going to be Chelsea's valuation is another question. And I think it'll be the same story for Tammy Abraham. I think Chelsea wanting 40 million. I feel like that might be a little bit too high for West Ham. I think the rumours around West Ham at the moment is that we have a budget between 50 to 70 million. And, that's our entire transfer budget gone if we spend 20 million on Zouma and 40 million on Tammy. So the likelihood of these deals not happening, unfortunately, I'm a pessimistic West Ham fan. I'm the guy that predicted us to get relegated this year. So I can't see us bringing in those players, especially when it's looking unlikely that we'll bring in Jesse Lingard as well. Again, if we could bring these guys in, it's incredible. But I think some of the most important things that West Ham can do this year is, in this window, is look at getting some players off the wage bill. So we've already done that with Felipe Anderson, who had a torrid couple of years at the club and then obviously went out on loan and has done little to nothing. He's gone back to Lazio and we let him go for next to nothing, but he was on a lot of wages. And it'll be interesting to see what West Ham do with Yarmolenko now, because I think Yarmolenko's up there with being our best played player. And I don't know if he gets anywhere near our starting 11 at the moment, and he's not getting any younger. So 120k a week for Yarmolenko to be on the bench. It's one of those things, but yeah, moving on to other big news in the transfer window. Obviously, we've saved the best till last. the blockbuster move, Jack Grealish, the boy from Birmingham, being linked with Man City. What do you think about this one, Craigs?
It's crazy because financial fair play, RIP, that's just not a thing anymore. It looks like all these like big moves being touted. Jadon Sancho going to Manchester United and Ben White going to Arsenal, and these clubs maybe a year or two ago, financial fair play rules are a bit more strict, wouldn't be able to pull off these moves. But if we are to believe the stories of Harry Kane being touted to go to Man City, as well as Jack Grealish on the verge of signing there, it's going to be a big spending year for Man City, or big spending summer for Man City. And it's interesting because Jack Grealish doesn't fit the profile of a Man City player. Oh, sorry. He doesn't fit the profile of a Man City player. But again, you can't really question Pep. Like Pep brought in players before that maybe we wouldn't have heard of, and he managed to make them fit. So a player like Jack Grealish, who's established in the Premier League, we know what he can do, and he's got all the ability in the world. Under Pep Guardiola, he's going to go to a different level. So it's an interesting move for Man City. I feel like they might have to move a player or two out. Bernardo Silva was touted to move away from Man City, so I think they might have to do that to kind of balance the books a little bit. But yeah, Jack Grealish and Man City it's a crazy move. Last season, there was talks about going to Tottenham or Manchester United. Man City has swooped in, and it seems like they're close to getting their man.
I mean, it might just be me, but I feel like £100 million for Jack Grealish seems quite cheap. And I know we're talking figures that would break the British transfer record. You know, it would eclipse the 89 million that Paul Pogba went for. But 100 million for Jack Grealish, a guy that's still got years in the tank, I feel like that's cheap. Do you not know?
Nah, that's to 100. Obviously, it's different because like the years left on contracts or whatnot. But Jadon Sancho went for 70 odd million.
Yeah, but then Harry Kane being linked. Harry Kane, like, what happens to Harry Kane now? Like he was linked with like a 120 to 150 million pound move.
Yeah, but like Harry Kane's put in like years and years of Premier League goals, and Jack Grealish is a great player, but
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I feel like
a lot of money.
I don't know what it is, bro, but I feel like Jack Grealish he's the superstar at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He's the guy on everyone's lips. Even the people that didn't watch football throughout the Euros, they're like, he's the guy that attracted. He brought in the viewers. He's the guy that does something different on the ball. You know, the X factor that a lot of people like to see. So I see Jack Grealish going for 100 million, and I think, wow, that's actually quite cheap. Then the fact that he's got the statistics to back it up, and he's like arguably, like, I think he's up there other than Kevin De Bruyne and being the most creative player. I know he's the most foul player in the league. If Man City land this player, I know you say he's not a player to fit the Pep model or the Man City model.
Yeah,
mate, I just look at the players that Pep's brought in and how he's evolved them as a player. You know, Raheem Sterling was a top player before going to Man City, and look what Pep's done to him. Like many players, so many players. I think it's scary. It's scary, if I'm honest. It's scary.
It's crazy money, though. I think it's crazy money. I do think, like, obviously, that's the market, and if Villa can get 100 million for Jack Grealish, who obviously cost them nothing because he came through their academy, then congratulations to Aston Villa. They can go again. They can secure themselves as a Premier League club for years and years to come, using that money wisely. And they've already brought in players as well, so credit to them. But £100 million for Jack Grealish, I just think is mental money. The kind of climate that we're in terms of the amount of money that's being touted around for different players, I feel like it's fair play if Man City were willing to pay that. But for me, it's so crazy we view it so differently, because for me, £100 million of Jack Grealish is absolutely mental. It's mental.
Crazy. Don't get it. It is crazy. It is crazy. But in a world where football transfers are consistently being inflated and going up, I mean, we are talking astronomical figures. You know, we're talking like years worth of annual revenue in lower league clubs here. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is crazy. You know, transfer fee aside, I think it could work out to be an incredible move for Man City. But the one thing I would ask is, who does he compete with in that side? For me, and this might be a little bit off the wall, I think he competes with Gundogan. I feel like he plays in that hole behind the striker. I feel like he could play there, or does he go up against Mahrez? Does he go up against Sterling? Where would you play him?
It's interesting because, like, he plays wherever he wants for Aston Villa, Royal Road and stuff. He goes deep, collect the ball, he does what he wants. So it's going to be very it's going to be an adaptation for Jack Grealish, who we know he's a high usage player. He likes to be on the ball a lot. He gets a lot of fouls. He wins a lot of fouls. Man City move the ball quicker than any team in the world. So it'll be interesting to see where Pep Guardiola will play him. I'm not too sure at all. I couldn't make a call right now. Maybe see him play off the right, play off the left. Like you say, maybe play a little bit deeper in a midfield three. He can play anyway. He's very, very versatile and he can do a lot. And yeah, if they manage to bring in Jack Grealish and they manage to bring in Harry Kane as well in the same summer, then Man City are clear favourites to win the Premier League.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And just to back up how crazy these figures are, I was just looking up the average annual turnover for clubs in the Championship. Wigan last season survived on £11 million worth of revenue over the entire season. And you're looking at spending £100 million in the Premier League as one thing. Like, it just makes you think, how are some clubs going to be able to bridge the gap? I mean, the gap between the top six, or, you know, let's be honest, like top 8 now, really, between the rest of the league is huge. But then you look at the rest of football and it's just astronomical figures, like you were saying. And yeah, it's going to be a crazy move. And I think it's one of those things that could develop over the next few weeks. I know Aston Villa are like keen not to sell, and let's not lie, you know, let's not be about the bush. Aston Villa are a wealthy club. They've got no need to sell Jack Grealish. You know, they're I mean, we're going off football now, but you know, the owners are the same team that own the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, they stuck with Ante Antetokounmpo, managed to keep him at the Bucks, and the Bucks have gone and won a championship this year. I'm not saying that Aston Villa are going to go win the Premier League, but you know, the owners, you know, clearly like to keep their key assets in the club. And as I said, they're
selling £100 million.
Oh, okay.
If Man City are offering £100 million Jack Grealish, and they can posture and be like, we hope he signs a new contract. If Jack Grealish wants to go to Man City, and Man City are offering to pay £100 million, Aston Villa, that's £100 million of profit, just pure profit.
Yeah.
He cost them absolutely nothing. Like,
I know what you're saying.
Like they have to, and they've already made steps in terms of replacing them, bringing in Wendy or whatnot. So like, they know that's happening. They're making all the right noises because obviously it's to appease the fans. But if Jack Grealish decides that he wants to go to Man City and Man City wins off £100 million, which is crazy, he's going to Man City.
Well, time will tell, Kwaku. I think we both want the move to go through. It'll be sad for Aston Villa fans. I do have a personal affliction with Aston Villa because I spent a lot of time in the Midlands and had a lot of friends that are Aston Villa fans. So I want to see Jack Grealish stay loyal, but at the same time, I do want to see Jack Grealish in that Man City side playing alongside Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden, because I think that's the league done at it, let's be honest. But in the meantime, where can they find us, Kwaku?
So you can find us on Twitter at WTF Podcast 90. You can find us on Instagram at We Talk Football Podcast. We're on Facebook, we're on Spotify, on Apple Music. We said it before, but we're actually now going to be doing like not audio only versions of the podcast, but we're going to be doing longer forms of the podcast with guests and friends of the pod. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for that. And we're back with more videos and videos and videos and videos and videos. Very, very soon. I'm literally
It's been a while, bro. It's been a while since we've done this, but yeah, as I said, guys, catch us on all the socials and we'll catch you next time.